Good morning and welcome to Behind the Screen. I am JM, your host. We just sit around, we talk about games, we talk about things that we love, things that inspire beauty, things that inspire us. So, good morning to Tink and Mark and John and Grom. Good to see all of you. We're continuing our look, and Rook, always good to see you, buddy. We are looking at our continuation of our look at Hyperborea, a sword and sorcery weird fantasy role-playing game. And let's just get right into it. This is the second book of Hyperborea. This is the referee's manual. And again, we've got this gorgeous cover. The art in this game is very old school, um, but the color palettes, the pieces that they put in here are just wonderful and amazing. I The reason I'm reviewing this and talking about this is I run a RuneQuest game every other week, or I did for a very long time. I'm actually going to, when I get back to it, when I feel up to running again, I'm actually going to pitch to my group, hey, RuneQuest is a lot for me to try and handle right now. Let's play Hyperborea for a bit and see what they think. I've got two of the members in the chat right now, so we'll see what they think. Not meaning to surprise you on this, just things I've been pondering in my head. So, this is the Hyperborea referee manual, and this is everything you need to run a game of Hyperborea. It starts with a great introduction on what it means to be a referee. So, taking a step back here, in older school games, it's not so much the dungeon, even dungeon master, it's not really a clear term. Referee harkens back to where these games came from. They came from wargaming. And in some war games, you would have a neutral party who would be adjudicating the rules between the two players. So if we're playing the Battle of Kadesh and one of us is playing the Hittites and John Doom is obviously playing the Egyptians for some reason, I don't know, Rook would be our referee. He would make sure that some information remained hidden from one side or the other and try to ensure basically impartiality in adjudicating the rules. And in older school games, that's kind of the way it is. Sometimes it's viewed upon as very adversarial. And I'm not going to say that there weren't adversarial DMs. I'm not going to say in my youth that I maybe wasn't quite adversarial. But the goal was always to be an impartial referee of the rules, to run the monsters to the best of your ability, to create the verisimilitude of a living world. And I would say, outside of Arbiter of Worlds and the preview I have of Adventurer Conqueror King Judge's Journal for the upcoming Kickstarter that Alexander's doing, this might be the best advice I've read on how to be a referee or a dungeon master. I think Arbiter of Worlds and the new Judge's Journal does a better job of guiding new players, a la the first edition DMG. Someday I should just talk about the first edition DMG. There's so much good nuggets in there. There's an entire section on the magic spells that cause the most problems at Gary's table and DM advice on how to adjudicate them. It's just amazing. My troops have insufficient Kopesh. You know what, Rook? I do think that one, of course, I used all three of us as the example in that, and I do feel like I heard that in the StarCraft, not the Protoss voice. Troops have insufficient Kopesh. So, after you get the referee's journal, you get or introduction, you get a great bestiary. This is a game where, even though it's split over two manuals, it has everything you need. All the player-focused rules are in the player's handbook. All the referee-focused rules are in this book. So we get great monsters and a great bestiary. Now here's the thing. It's weird fantasy. It's science fantasy. It's sword and sorcery. So a lot of the traditional D20 monsters that have been part of the oeuvre since its beginning they're not there. Goblins and orcs, they're absent. What gets slotted into these places are beastmen, either degenerate humans or elevated apes, and very a la Conan, where you have this cycle of civilization and barbarism, evolution and devolution. So I'm going to show off two of my favorite monsters. They also have just a slew of great Lovecraftian monsters, as you may imagine. And going back to the old AD&D days, we have types of demons, type 1 through just so many different types. Snake people are in here. I'm going to cover my two of my favorite. The first being this Scythe automaton. These are relics of ancient sorcery and science. They are, I desperately want to throw one at a group of players. And something that was interesting to me as I was reading through this again is how many, and I think it's almost all of them, all of the automatons in old school games are puzzle monsters. And I stole this from, I think, Daniel Fox of Zweihander. A puzzle monster, the kind of quintessential puzzle monster, is the troll. You can't beat it until you figure it out. No matter how much you hack at a troll, the troll's going to keep regenerating. It's going to keep coming back until you figure out, oh, it's weak. Fire or acid will stop its regeneration. Almost all of the automatons, and again, I would say, if not all of them, have immunities, and not just immunities, but strange interactions where fire heals them, or electricity gives them a haste spell, or something like that. And again, the stat blocks in here are very small. They take, you can get 2 to 3 on a page because they're very tight. They give you how many you're likely to encounter, what their general alignment and size are, how far they move. One interesting adaptation from pure old school 1E or 2E gaming is they include the dex of the creature for breaking initiative ties, because that's in first edition sort of what broke initiative ties. You've got hit dice, attacks, all of that just right here. The other one I want to show off is sort of replacing, I don't even know what monster this would replace. But who doesn't love a good crab person? And the thing to remember is this is science fantasy. And that means sometimes you fight a crab man, and they have a laser gauntlet. So this thing is fitted with a gauntlet-like laser rifle over one claw that pincers and manipulate the trigger mechanism, functions humans are unable to mimic. And the rifle is a +2 to hit and does 3d6 damage and may be fired 3 times around, and has about 144 charges. This thing is amazing. I agree, Rook. Start to finish, completely in love with this monster. And then it's got a laser gauntlet. Honestly, Hyperborea is a setting I would love to convert to Savage Worlds as well, because everyone needs giant crabmen. I think that's just a necessity in this game, or in our games. You also get a ton of treasure, and again, some of this is normal treasure, things that you would expect: +1 weapons, shields, wands, amulets, Ioun stones, things like that. Some of them are completely new and unique. Who wouldn't want to find a cache of radiation grenades to throw at your enemy? Or a suit of demon armor forged of demons with eyes that look out in every direction and protect the wielder, and can only be worn by those purest of heart. A paladin. What sort of crazy, insane nonsense is this? I want to run this game. Hey, Padre, good to see you. After our bestiary, the thing, and treasure, we got a gazetteer of Hyperborea. And what's great about Hyperborea is it's done in such broad strokes that you can set an adventure or a campaign anywhere. Even if you pick the biggest city in Hyperborea, just outside the walls, wilderness awaits. Inside the city, the Green Death has decimated, in the modern usage, not in the legional usage of the word, the population. And so there's large swaths of the cities that are still uninhabited, even hundreds of years later, because the population just hasn't recovered. So yes, when I first heard it, I thought it was very very limiting. A hexagon floating in space just out of Saturn. But they did such a great job. It reminds me of the Dragon Empire of 13th Age. A great job of giving you this gloss of the region, some very detailed points, and the rest is just hooks for you to hang your own campaign on. Yeah, I was there with you, John. Like, just it doesn't. I mean, annihilate is a better word, but it does. Annihilate means everything. So, and then rounding it off, it gives you 5 appendices. How weather works in Hyperborea, what the hazards of travel are in Hyperborea. If you are a fan of Conan, the Black Lotus and its relatives are dangers here in the land of Hyperborea. I just got Zane and I just finished reading Devil in Iron, and what's the Conan story where obviously it's a Conan story where he and a woman escape to an island and they find the statues in the ruin that come to life in moonlight. But he gets... Oh no, it's Queen of the Black Coast, where he's tramping through the forest trying to figure out what's going on with his men, and he gets ensnared by the aroma of the Black Lotus and ends up seeing visions of the past. 2 votes for a Savage Worlds conversion. I will deeply ponder that, and this plays into what we're going to talk about next week, but I'll come to that in a second. So you've got the hazards, you've got water expedition, and then for me, the things that I love, because all of the classes gain a stronghold of some sort. They gain followers. There are rules for mass combat and sieges in here. And that's it. And I say that's it like that wasn't enough. It's 300 and... The PDF's 377 pages, and you get all of that in there. I think the one I was thinking of was Queen of the Black Coast. How deeply? I feel like this is a shallow hotel. Do it. Yes, it is so good. You're able to... I mean, honestly, these 2 books would be enough. If North Wind Adventures published nothing else, that would be enough. We're going to do a quick gloss on Tuesday of the adventures that Northwind has produced. I have read through all of them, and some are merely great. Others are exemplary, and I think that they are some of the best old school themed adventures that I have read in a very long time. Again, if you are at all interested in this, now is the best time to pick up the PDFs, because if you go to bundleofholding.com and click on the Hyperborea bundle, 13 to 15 bucks gets you both referee and player's manual. The Atlas, which is, I was a little confused. The Atlas is just the maps, and they're gorgeous. And the GM screen and the Late Trapper's Lament. Just a great title for an adventure. So that brings us to the end of our look at Hyperborea. I am really excited to get this to the table. Probably, like I said, I'll reach out to my Wednesday adventure and give it a shot. See if my group wants to play it for a couple of months while I continue to recover. See if we can get in there, get back to gaming a little bit sooner rather than later. Tink brings up a great point. The adventures are printed to look like comic books. They are. The covers look like old school Marvel Comics Conan adventures. They're all printed on cardboard or outer edges cardstock. Good paper quality. Yeah, we'll talk about that on Tuesday. So Tuesday we'll finish up our Hyperborea. And then I would like to get into some Savage Worlds discussions going forward. I'd like to go back and hit the Pathfinder chase deck. We talked about doing that for Padre. And then I really want to, I think next Thursday we're going to delve into what is perhaps the book I have been waiting for on this channel, all this channel's life. Because if you have been following behind the screen for any length of time, we did a huge deep dive into all of the genres of fantasy. And the fantasy companion from Savage Worlds is amazing. If you have not picked this up, I hope next Thursday I will have convinced you to buy this book, because it is 270 pages of just gold, start to finish. Love this book. Talking about it next Thursday. But I want to show off the covers and just boost Hyperborea a couple more times, because it's a game that I love, and hopefully we'll be getting to the table here soon. I am an official Savage World advocate. Speaking of, thank you, Rook, for providing the segue. On the Savage Worlds channel tonight, on their, I think it's on their Twitch, their YouTube, and their Facebook Live, where we stream everywhere all at once, but without the hot dog fingers. I will be interviewing Rob from Misty Mountain Gaming, which they are running on their stream a Deadlands stream currently. I believe they're doing Blood Drive. We'll talk a little bit about that. But if you can tune in at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific, I think I've got that covered, they are going to be giving away a dice set on the stream. So if you want to see what kind of dice, go over to Misty Mountain Games. They produce dice and miniatures. We're going to be giving away a set tonight. And tune into the Savage Universe stream. Hear us talk about cool things and Deadlands. So, Padre, speaking of Torg, I don't know if you can see, I got my, I can do this. I got my, here, Pan Pacifica box in, and am slowly reading through Operation Soft Cell. New Torg is always great. If you haven't checked it out, go over, search YouTube for the Delphi Council Debriefings, which is a weekly podcast that Lehman, who is the line developer for Torg, Mark, who's one of the writers, and it used to be me, and now it's a rotating cast of guest hosts. Hopefully I'll be able to get back to that at some point in the near future. They just talk about Torg every week. So if you like Torg, Delphi Council Debriefings, I will put them their link in the show notes down below. So that's it for Behind the Screen today. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. We'll talk about Adventures in Hyperborea on Tuesday, and then the Savage Worlds Fantasy Companion on Thursday. Until then, thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.